welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today is Monday, June 30th. It's the day of the scheduled banned and restricted update announcement for all formats for Magic the Gathering, and in memoriam, I hope I am playing Oops All Spells. Of course, this is a bit of a gamble. I'm recording this much earlier in June. I don't know what the banned and restricted announcement will be, but Oops All Spells was getting some attention 3 or 4 months ago for the last one, and it has continued to put up numbers since then. The point of this deck is to not play any Magic the Gathering. We have Undercity Informer and Balustrade Spy, which for 4 mana, the Balustrade Spy costs 4 and has an enters the battlefield ability. The Undercity Informer costs 3 and has a 1 mana activated ability. A little different, but 4 mana gets us to the same spot. Target player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land, and puts each of those cards into the graveyard. The point is target yourself with one of these 8 creatures, and then your deck goes in the graveyard, and from there, Narcomoeba comes into play for free. You can sacrifice a Narcomoeba to cast one of your 2 Cabal Therapies. That can check your opponent's hand. When you cast Cabal Therapy, your Poxwalkers will come back from the graveyard. Your Poxwalkers, then you can play your other Cabal Therapy for free, because sacking Poxwalkers to play Cabal Therapy, the Poxwalkers that you sacrificed will see the Cabal Therapy leave the graveyard and come right back. And then when the coast is clear, we use Dread Return to target Thassa's Oracle. And then we win, because our deck is empty. This deck also plays 4 Thoughtseize and 4 Pact of Negation for cheap, efficient interaction, condensing the game further. If your monster gets counterspelled, we have cards like Reanimate and Lively Dirge that can get it back from the graveyard. Lively Dirge, if you find yourself with a boatload of mana but no action, can actually get the monster and then return it. This is a card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction with the Spree mechanic, which means you get as many additional effects as you pay for. 1 and a black, you get nothing. For an additional 1, you get an Entomb, and for an additional 2, you can return up to 2 target creatures with total mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That means for 5 mana, you can go into your deck and get Balustrade Spy, and then immediately return it to the battlefield, and then you win. Kind of like a 9th monster in the deck, but with some flexibility. And the real brilliance of this deck, if your opponent has something like Surgical Extraction, if you cast your Dread Return, and they surgically extract it, in response, you can spend a mana of any color to exile Jack-o'-lantern from your graveyard, to add a mana of any other color, or any color, and you name green. And then you flashback Memory's Journey. And then you put Thassa's Oracle and 2 Lotus Petals on top of your deck. And then a couple turns later, you cast Thassa's Oracle with those 2 Lotus Petals. And there's different packages you can tuck on top depending on what resources you have available at the time you cast the Memory's Journey. But this deck goes off on turn 1. It has a ton of 0 or 1 mana interaction, and it's resilient to Graveyard Hate, which is the thing that you would think shuts this deck down the most. In all seriousness, this deck is a masterpiece. Goblin Charbelcher has been a legacy and extended, and basically most formats where it's legal, deck for as long as it's existed. And Oops All Spells for a while was just Belcher that also had to beat Graveyard Hate, but through both printings and innovations, they have thoroughly surpassed Belcher as the best way to do this thing, to the point where I honestly hope it is not legal by the time that you are watching this, or at least an hour or 2 after. My hope for bans out of this deck, the least impactful thing they could do is take Undercity Informer. Balustrade Spy is the weaker of the 2 because it gets got by Consigned to Memory, which is a commonly played card. It's the one that costs more to get on the stack in the first place, and having only 4 of these instead of 8 cuts the deck in half. The deck could just main deck the Charbelchers, but that's another thing that gets got by Consigned to Memory and Force of Negation. The deck could adopt Beseech the Mirror and like Chrome Moxes or something to turn on your Beseech the Mirrors to get your 4 Balustrade Spies more often, but that's another choke point for Force of Negation. Taking Undercity Informer would weaken the deck while letting it continue to exist. That's the bare minimum that I would be content exploring. I really hope they just take the whole thing, though, Balustrade Spy and Undercity Informer. These cards are banned together in multiple formats for the reason that this deck is not fun or interesting. The construction of the deck, the people who figured all this out, shout out to all of you. You genuinely broke one of Magic's most powerful formats, and I respect the hell out of that, but I also hope you can't do this anymore after today. Let's do it. Hopefully one last ride with Oops All Spells. I'm on the draw in round 1. This deck does need to mulligan quite a bit. Like I said, it needs 4 specific cards in its deck to function. I will mulligan this hand that doesn't do anything. I will mulligan this hand that doesn't do anything. Here we have 3 mana, a second shot. I will keep this. Get rid of Poxwalkers and Dread Return. The deck is largely mana. I just need to find a mana, and I can send Undercity Sewer. Just like that. Mana. Bogger Bog. Lotus Petal. Exile this. 1, 2. Balustrade Spy. We are playing against an Underground Sea deck. Daze is live here, but we resend next turn. Alright, Force Pitching Brainstorm. Pass the turn. If they wasteland me, I just need a black source to go again. If they don't wasteland me, I will just cast Reanimate. Grixis something or other. Do I play around Daze? I think I might as well. My life total is not really what this matchup's about, so why get dazed if I don't have to? Okay, an emergency brainstorm after pitching 1 to a force. And my thing resolved, here we go. And I have the mana up, which means I can Jack-o'-lantern Memory's Journey if they have Cling to Dust, which is a card they could have. Alright, I'll start with a Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent, which will trigger my Poxwalkers and my Bridge from Below. And they're done. Look at that. On the draw, mull to 5, through a Force of Will, turn 2 win. Good stuff. I am not an expert in sideboarding, and there are like half a dozen meaningfully different sideboard strategies that exist for this deck. I am following a basic guide that was shared with me through a Discord I'm in. I wish I could credit the author. I don't even know who they were. But I do know a number of combo sickos who have been talking to Oops folks. And basically the wisdom of this plan is on the draw, where they could have something like Grafdigger's Cage, have a way to win through Grafdigger's Cage. On the play, it's much less sideboarding, sometimes even 0. But some graveyard stuff out, some non-graveyard stuff in. I'm certain there's more nuance to this, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, this is 3 mana Undercity Informer. It's ultra slow, and I have 2 of my graveyard objects in my hand. I think I mulligan this. Okay, Thoughtseize, crank out a Belcher. Keep. Is Lotus Petal or Cabal Ritual a worse card? They both make 1 mana then go away. Ritual could make more mana someday, but I don't think we're going to be playing that long. I'm going to bottom a Ritual. I guess if I could get the same effect for 2 mana or 0 mana, why would I spend 2 on it? Bloodstained Mire. I'm a little worried about the card Thoughtseize. That's pretty good against me here. Ponder. Alright. Dig, dig, dig. Right now I have exactly enough mana to cast Belcher on turn 2 after Thoughtseizing on 1. Bridge from Below. Great draw. Agadeem's Awakening, or Agadeem the Undercrypt. I'll take the damage. I will play around Daze, just in case. And I'll take a little look-ski. A Force of Will, and an Opposition Agent, and a Reanimate. My goodness, those cards would normally be good, except my sideboard plan is really busted. Okay, pass. Does Abo Agent even do anything, ever? I boarded out the Lively Dirge, I guess it technically does something there. Okay, Felmire, Cabal Writ, and Goblin Charbelcher. They could pop their Spell Bomb looking for a force here. If they have a force on top of the deck, then they're in great shape. There's the Brainstorm, Emergency Dig. I think this is Grixis control, and that they don't have the card Daze in their list, but I kind of hope they do, because they have the Spirit Guide for the Blowout. Okay. I'll pass, and they have to either Thoughtseize my Spirit Guide, then kill me before I ever draw a 3rd mana, or somehow turn off Belcher. Paracoif is not the one. Okay. Well, once again, cooking an opponent who had Force of Will in their hand at one point, and Nile Spellbomb. And that shit just doesn't matter. Alright, I will belch you, and I guess you hope that I boarded in a land that I forgot about. Put the cards on the bottom of my library. How about any order? I think I've done enough. Okay, so that was 2 mulls to 5 on the draw through Force of Will, and in game 2 also through Nile Spellbomb. Sweet. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the draw in round 2, which is a shame because I'm paired against Nathan Lippitz, who is one of the known mouthpieces for Oops All Spells in the world. We've got a hand that I have to mulligan. It just doesn't get to 4 mana quickly. This one almost has it. I think I will keep. The deck is, like I said, half mana, and I'm otherwise ready to go. Unfortunately, Pact of Negation doesn't help. Oh, good. Please draw a land. I would love to beat him with his own deck here. Oh my god. Oh my god. The double Pact kill. Let's go. How many counterspells you got? Dazing. I'll pack the daze. A Force of Will, too. Alright, do you have triple interaction? Dark Ritual resolved. Dark Ritual. Balustrade Spy. I'll target myself. Alright, opponent will at least get a look at the list. It's always right to get a look at the list, even if you can't beat it. I even have the mana floating for Jack-o'-lantern. This is the funniest heel turn in history. The, number 2 Oops All Spells player in the world, losing to Oops All Spells with a double counterspell hand on the play against a mull to 6. Taste it! Okay, so I'm on the draw against some blue tempo deck again. This looks like the same basic thing that I did last round. And in we go. I am on the draw. I don't have the initial mana source, and knowing I'm against a counterspell deck. This player did recently win some online event with blue-black tempo, which we saw basic Island Daze force in game 1. I don't think I can keep this hand. Okay, here we go. This is stable mana, a lot of disruption. It needs to draw a threat, but I'd kind of rather play this game than the one where I have a threat but no stability. Swamp. Thoughtseize. Well, can't take my mana, so I think I'm going to lose my own Thoughtseize here. And if the game gets super weird, I could just start casting Boggart Trawlers. Like, that's a thing. That's a gear the deck has. Boggart Trawlers, Poxwalkers, just put them on the stack. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to play the Undercrypt tapped, because I'm not ready to send anything yet. Like, even if I name Cabal Therapy and blind hit Force of Will right now, like, what am I doing with that window? Nothing. And look at this shit. Sometimes you just draw Thoughtseize, and then your Cabal Therapy hits for sure. And my opponent missed a land drop, which means hand is full of gas. Oh, look at this. Okay. I could take one of the Force of Wills. Would have to, or if I don't take Force, all right, let's think through this. If I don't take Force, my opponent will have to force the Cabal Therapy, or else it gets 2 cards. If I do take Force, then Cabal Therapy resolves and is 1 for 1. So I can either get 3 cards out of this hand, but Force of Will is still in it, or I can get 2 Force of Wills out of the hand for sure. I think I want Brainstorm, then I'm going to Cabal Therapy and make my opponent force it, and then I'll just cast Poxwalkers next turn. All right, take Brainstorm. Boggart Trawler. Therapy you. This will get forced pitching something. Forced pitching Harbinger of the Seas. There we go. There, sweet. So next turn, opponent will have to force Poxwalkers, or else I just get to Cabal Therapy them for free off of the Poxwalkers. All right, land. Now Brazen Borrower's online, but not actually a thing that's going to work. Okay, I could Spirit Guide to cast the Poxwalkers, keeping Trawler in hand. I think I'd rather keep my 4th mana. All right, Boggart Bog. Cast Poxwalkers. Could consign to memory my Poxwalker trigger, but then Cabal Therapy will resolve. All right, yeah, let's get it. Like, you're basically hellbent if you fight over this, or you lose one card and I get to keep my Poxwalker. All right, at this point, I think I'm going to name Consigned to Memory. That is just a cleaner answer to everything I want to do this game. And if you want to keep a blue card for that force, that means you have to hold on to that Brazen Borrower. Obviously, just like putting a Netherglyph into play is pretty good here, but my creature does have Death Touch. Thoughtseize, let's go. I'm going to attack first. I don't even need to play this Thoughtseize. I'm just going to hold it for a minute until I have spells I want to cast. A Ponder. So this is why I held the Thoughtseize. Now the hand's going to be meaningfully different, and I'd like to get a look at the new information that I have to play against. Shuffle the library, Netherglyph. Okay. Undercity Informer. Okay. Well, I'm going to Thoughtseize my opponent. Do I attack first? If they think the trade is good, that's probably good for me. Because, like, if they think I have nothing going on, they might just take this trade, then there's no pressure. All right, Thoughtseize. I'd like to see a card that is not blue. Unfortunate. All right, so I'm going to take Force of Will and then work around this Dazed Brazen Borrower situation over the next couple turns. I just need a mana. Or no, I can win next turn. I don't need a mana. Or yes, I do, because I still have to pay for days. Deck full of mana. Let's go. Dark Ritual. Informer. Okay, there's a Daze. I will pay. I will change phases here, because my opponent has mana floating and I don't. And I can do this anytime. Second main. Inform on myself. There's only one Narcomoeba here, because I drew one and I boarded one out. Heck yeah. Okay. I mean, that game was really interesting, but only because I was on the draw, and at no point was I worried. Like, my opponent had Thoughtseize, Force of Will, Consigned to Memory on the play against my mulligan, and it was still, like, I was never under pressure and had plenty of time and resources to work through the situation. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
It's round 3. I am on the play. My hand does not have a homie and does not have 4 mana. I'm going to mulligan. This hand does have 4 mana, but it's very slow and does not have a homie. I'm going to mulligan this. This has the Lively Dirge. What can I do with that? Unfortunately, I think if this Lotus Petal was a land, I would keep it. But Lotus Petal does not let me therapy them and set up a Lively Dirge. And I only have 4 mana. I need 5 to do the thing. All right, straight to 4. Okay, we're in ugly mode. Hope I don't have it. Keep. Bottom. Jack-o'-lantern. I won't need 2 lands where I'm going. And unfortunately, this Cabal Therapy's got to go. Okay, force check. Academe, the Undercrypt. Dark Ritual. Exile Simian Spirit Guide. I guess I didn't need to do that, huh? Shit. Well, they know the last card in my hand. That's actually a huge bleed. Because if they have, like, Force of Will, but they're thinking maybe I could get it with Swords to Plowshares, maybe, like, giving that info away is bad, but I'm kind of all in here regardless. Okay, here we go. They're going to look at my deck and then probably concede to Cabal Therapy, unless they main deck some Graveyard Hate, but even then, I didn't even talk about the other gear of the deck yet, which is just put Poxwalkers into play. Or target you with Cabal Therapy. Like here, even if they do have like main deck Surgical Extraction and take my Thassa's Oracle out of the deck, I can use Memory's Journey, just put basically 3 random cards on top of my deck, and kill my opponent through combat with Poxwalkers and zombie tokens over the next 3 turns before I deck myself. Okay, begin sideboarding. I do not know what I'm up against. On principle, I'm not going to Google their name, even though you should be doing that if you're playing this deck in a real tournament that matters. I think I'm just going to submit my same deck again. Or I could do that respect graveyard hate Belcher pivot just in the blind. I have no idea if it's right to do this, but just as a Magic player, just as a sideboarding Magic player, I think it's really important to change what you're doing at least a little bit between sideboarded games, like between game 1 and game 2, then between game 2 and game 3. Even if the things are relatively equal, just do the other one in the dark, I think is how I think about sideboarding and keeping an opponent off balance. Belcher is a 7-mana line, where Spy is a 4-mana line, though, so if this is just a stompy deck where speed is all that matters, and if it's a stompy deck, I should have my claims in, but I don't know what's going on. That's just how I'm thinking about it in the dark in general as a Magic player and not as an Oops All Spells player. Lots of stable mana, 2 of the worst cards I could have in my hand. Gonna mulligan this. Opponent has kept 7. Here I have Goblin Charbelcher and some stable mana to play the game for a while. I am going to keep this. This is a turn 2 Belcher, turn 3 activate. Ooh, a stompy deck. Well, I don't like, oh god, a white stompy deck. Oh yeah. Well, good news, everybody. I can actually beat that card. I'm going to play Boggart Bog tapped, because it's going to be tapped whether I like it or not. And then Lotus Petal is my spell for turn. If they're all in on this, I can actually kill them with Belcher. If they follow this up, I'm in trouble. Cavern of Souls. I don't think I mind Seasoned Dungeoneer, like clocking me is important, but lock pieces are bad. Clarion Conqueror, real bad. Witch Enchanter, no! Alright, well, I mean, I had to play that out for any sequencing to make any sense at all. Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, well, Boggart Bog enters tapped. Lion's Eye Diamond is my spell for the turn. I think Lotus Petal should have been my spell for the turn. That was a spew. Because I do have Fel the Profane in my hand. Oh, but it comes in tapped. It's fine. Alright, just don't have a card that kills me. Okay, they did not play a card that kills me or otherwise. Non-basic lands enter tapped. Okay. Felmire tapped. I take 4 down to 10. I belch them. And the LED already being in play means that I'm only playing 1 spell. I think I should belch them in their upkeep so I can protect it with Pact, maybe. Does that matter? I have no idea. Oh, I can't protect it with Pact if I use LED. Alright, well, question mark, do I win? Belch. Imagine thinking turn 1 Archon of Emiria into turn 2 2/2 Stone Rain could possibly beat Oops All Spells. We are 3-0, 6-0. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. On the draw for round 4, my hand has 3 mana and no homie. My opponent asked, are they famous? You are now. Everyone say hi to Tyrannical. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. Okay, here we go. This is Ascend. I will keep it. Bottoming Dread Return. I'd love to draw a Thoughtseize or Pact of Negation or Cabal Therapy or Reanimate on my turn. Or Lively Dirge. Do I have enough mana to Dirge? It's close. Oh yeah, I have a zillion mana. Ancient Tomb. Oh no. Oh no. Wow, that's actually good against my hand, which is not necessarily true against all hands. But if I draw another non-Dark Ritual mana source, I still just win. Oh my god. Oh my god. Imagine thinking, knocking 2 cards representing 6 mana out of my hand on turn 1 would be enough to stop Oops All Spells. Yes, I am the bad guy. We got a shocked face. in the chat. A reasonable shocked face. Yeah, I understand. I would be upset with me too. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a real piece of shit. This is not the best way to do this. Just in case. All right, Cabal Therapy will get countered, but my Poxwalkers will function better, and I'll put more power and toughness into play, just in case they have some additional trick. Okay, here it doesn't matter anymore. Dread Return, targeting Thassa's Oracle, sack the Poxwalkers, and Archamoeba. Been called a sellout. I promise it's for content. I'm not doing this because I like it. Bang. Turn 1 Chalice of the Void, him to Taraking, more than half the mana out of my hand, then still win on turn 1. Okay, so reviewing the guide that's been shared with me, I did accidentally stumble into 3/4 of the correct sideboard plan. What I did last round is what we're doing, but now Pact and Negation goes too. Because they're unlikely to interact on my turn, and of course, I can't really pay for a Pact if I interact with one of their things. Let's play. Okay, I mean, this is a turn 1 win. It's unprotected. I'm going to keep in bottom Oracle. All right, it's no longer a turn 1 win. Oh, right, I don't have to bottom a card. I get to keep them all. That's so weird. All right, well, Nature's Claim is good. Now I get to just Thoughtseize my opponent, see what's going on over there. All right, Agadeem, Thoughtseize you, hopefully slow some stuff down. Magus of the Moon, Fury, 3-ball. Well, Trinisphere is a hell of a drug. Magus of the Moon, Belcher still beats that. And I'm on Belcher anyway. I do have Elvish Spirit Guide if I draw my Nature's Claim. The Trinisphere is going to be a problem. All right, yeah, it's got to be Trinisphere. Sucks to suck, but there we go. If they play this Magus of the Moon, I can play a Simian Spirit Guide off my land. And by if, I mean when, because they're obviously doing this. Okay, here we go. All right, I guess, do I cast a 2/2, or do I try to get Goblin Charbelcher going? Because I'd have to pitch 2 other Spirit Guides. I'd probably pitch the 2 Elves. Maybe I just use my life total as a resource and do none of the above for now. Because if I draw Charbelcher after spending functionally 3 or 4 mana on something else, that's really bad. All right, here comes this stuff. Boomby Zooms are zooming. That's a lot of damage with that Fury in their hand if they can find any red card to pitch it. Okay, pitching Shatter Skull Smashing. They're taking the 7-ball. Put me to dead on board. Okay, they're Hellbent, but so I have to draw a Goblin Charbelcher right now, and I win. Paid actor, paid actor. Did you think you would win a game? It's not possible. Splat. Make an extra mana just to show off. Ka-chow. Wowie. GG Tyrannical, sorry you had to be in front of me when this happened. On to the final round. We are 4-0-8-0. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final trophy round. I have a turn 1 protected send I will keep. This is both a Pact of Negation turn 1 send, or I could slow down and Thoughtseize multiple times, see what's going on, if that's how I feel. Oh god, Oscillate Pride? I think I'm just going to send it. Alright, draw for turn. Thoughtseize, Whelp. Agadeem the Undercrypt. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Can you count to 4? Because I can. Target myself, gaze upon my list. If you haven't seen it before, there's a really funny podcast clip from the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s. It's got Cedric Phillips on it, and Jorbs, the Slay the Spire streamer, is randomly on the podcast too. I guess he was into Magic at the time. But Cedric has this hilarious rant about playing decks like Death and Taxes or Maverick in Legacy, where he's like, Mother of Runes, you're dead. Basic Forest, you're dead. And I don't know, Cedric popping off is funnier than me retelling the story, but you could probably find that somewhere. Okay, so we're some Oscillate Pride something or other. I guess I'll treat it like a Stompy deck. Respect Leyline of the Void and do the base pivot here. I think I cut back to Negation. They're not a blue deck. This makes sense to me. All right, here we go. 1 game away from the flawless trophy. Okay, it's a turn 1 send And I can pivot onto Belcher if I need to. I will keep this hand. They're down to 4 cards already. Okay, they're happy with 4. Something like Deafening Silence might be annoying. Grafdigger's Cage I can beat with the Belcher. Yeah, that's fine. If they followed this up with Wasteland, that could be troublesome. All right, Fell the Profane. I will play this. And do I want to Thoughtseize them? Yeah, I can't Belcher them next turn anyway, so I'll take the time to Thoughtseize. Ghost Vacuum, Wasteland. All right, it is Wasteland. So I will have to put the Belcher into play next turn and then slowly work my way up to 3 mana again. Bugger Trawler, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Goblin Charbelcher, pass. I could have even played Balustrade's Buy and just started attacking them. But now Dark Ritual, LED, nothing to do here. I could just like Blind Therapy them, but what do I even name? Red. Reanimate doesn't work. Okay. Now I kind of wish I had cast Utter City Informer and just started attacking. That's not true. There's so many good draws here. All right, Fellmire. We are now 2/3 of the way there. So many draws in the deck. Win this game. Lightning Bolting my face. You got to get it done somehow. Amped Raptor. All right, don't hit Null Rod. Exile to Johnny. Okay, I mean, they have suddenly presented a real clock. I just need to draw one of half of my deck. Half of the deck is mana. Come on, let's do it. Magic is easy. 5-0, 10-0, GG's. Sorry to every one of my opponents who had to be in front of me today. Well, there it is, folks. Undefeated run. I was on the play once. I played against Force of Will several times. There were Leylines of the Void. There were Grafdigger's Cages. There was a turn 1 Archon of Emeria. None of it could stop me at all. Yeah, this deck's bullshit. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. We had some cool games, like even the games where, like, okay, so here's my problem with this deck. The games that were interesting because my opponent had something like Leyline of the Void plus Cavern of plus Chalice of the Void, or the game against Lippets where it was like turn 1 Thoughtseize, hand is double Force of Will consigned to memory. We played 6 or 7 turns still. But I was never in trouble. That game became interesting because insane things happened. And also in that game against Lippets, he kept a hand with only basic Swamp for mana and a handful of blue cards plus Thoughtseize, which I think is correct, but you don't want to keep that hand. Like, a big part of me getting away with that game was that he just like didn't have blue mana until turn 4, and then by then it didn't do anything. And that last round against that opponent, Ocelot Pride, cool. I mean, that's a cool Magic card. I wonder what they're doing. That's not... It gets some Fringe Legacy play. I'd like to see more of their deck. Oh, you're dead. Game 2, Mull to 4. Grafdigger's Cage. Wasteland. Still just fucking dead. Cool. Out of a 6th sense of morbid curiosity, I did have fun this league. But I don't know. If I was just queuing up on my lunch break doing this over and over again, I don't know. This is not the game that I enjoy. And once again, kudos to the Oops community for truly breaking the format. I mean, maybe this deck's still legal. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe Wizards of the Coast has access to things that we don't. But there are people manipulating data to show that Oops is dominating. There are people manipulating data to show that Oops is not dominating. But either way, I don't know. How can you watch this league and think that this is something that is okay? I'm out of here. Oops All Spells. I hope you're out of here too. I hope this video ages well. This is me signing off on BNR Update Day. Tomorrow will be my reaction to the BNR Update video, of course. We'll talk about it then. Everyone, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.